So I thought I'd just make a quick video showing you how easy it is to get started with iThemes security. And it's actually, I mean, it's super easy to install. It's available from the WordPress theme repository. So you're going to go to your add plugins or to your plugins, add new page. And if you just search for iThemes security, you'll find it. And it does say formerly better WP security. So then make sure you know you got the right one. Go ahead and install it. Shouldn't take very long. And then we're going to go ahead and activate our plugin. And let's take a look at, now one of the things that I really like about iThemes security is some of these security plugins have about a billion options, and all of them have a sound reason for being there in a security plugin. And so they're all good ideas to have around, but you don't but not every site and every site owner and every situation necessarily needs all of the options. So the first thing we're going to do after we've activated our plugin, we're going to go to this Secure Your Site Now button. And this is going to take us to a page that's kind of like a quick start. You get our important first steps. So make a backup. Do you have a recent backup of your site? It's going to go ahead and make a backup, and then it'll give it to you to download. It'll make a nice full backup like I always talk about, or I'm sorry, this just makes a database backup. So if you have Backup Buddy installed, I would recommend running a full backup before you do this because granted, most of the changes that it's going to be making are database-based changes, but I'm neurotic about backups and I like to have everything set up. So it's going to automatically send it to your admin account or your uploads folder. So you'll get it there. Okay, next, do you want to let iThemes Security update files? I recommend this because exactly as it says here, it requires doing some edits to your wp-config files or htaccess. Do you want to do you want to allow this plugin to make those changes? So I'm going to go ahead and say allow file updates, but this is also one of those reasons why I like to do a full backup before I start working with this, especially on an existing site. If I'm working on it on a new site I'm building, then I'm not too worried about this. But if I'm adding iThemes security to an existing site, I definitely want to make sure I have a full backup because sometimes, depending on server setups and sunspots and Mercury and retrograde and all kinds of other weird things. The edits that it makes to the WP config file or htaccess file could cause problems with your site. So you want to make sure that you have a known working version to go back to. So anyway, the short version is do a full backup before you do any of this stuff and then go ahead and say allow file updates. I'm not going to do the one-click secure because I want to go through some of the other options with you. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that alone for now. I personally would like to say, yes, I'd like to help, and they let them collect data about the plugin. That one is entirely up to you. And I do want to kind of put a bit of a mini disclaimer out here. I am not a security expert. I am by no means a server security expert or anything like that. I know that there's a bunch that I don't know, but there is a lot of information that I have picked up from reading blogs and talking with experts and listening to them and learning from them. And so I want to share some of what I've learned with you guys. Take my recommendations with a grain of salt and all that other good stuff. All right, so now we've got our iThemes security dashboard. Now that we did our first steps, we're going to go here. Temporarily whitelisting my IP. Basically, your IP address is the kind of like the address that you're using for your computer to access the website. So we're going to go ahead and temporarily whitelist that because some of the changes that we're making may block IPs, and we want to make sure that we can get back into our site and we haven't locked ourselves out. That's always a good idea. So here are some high priority items that the iThemes security plugin is suggesting that we fix. Our login area is not protected by brute force attacks. Let's go ahead and say fix it. And what it's going to do is make it so that our brute force protection here, hang on one second. Okay, so sorry about that. So brute force attacks are basically a hacker or usually a hacker bot trying over and over and over and over and over again to access your site. Well, so this is why we always say don't use admin as your username. because if they know that, then they just try to guess a password for admin. And if you're using a common password or an easy password, then they just go through iterations of, the list of things. And I've seen them attempt to over 900 attempts on a client site in less than 45 minutes. So a little bit scary sometimes, and you want to make sure that you're protected. So we're going to go ahead and enable brute force protection. So what this will do is basically the number of lockouts per user. So if somebody tries to access it using a specific username, they get 10 attempts. I'm gonna bring that down to 5. Max login attempts per host is per IP address or per computer. How many attempts does that one individual computer get to try to get into your site? We're gonna leave that at 5 too. Minutes to remember bad logins. I'm gonna bump that up to 15. You can make it 60. Lots of other options. And then I like to use this one here, and we're going to immediately ban any host. So this is the computer, not the user. Any host that attempts to use the admin username. Because I don't use the admin username on my site. I highly recommend that you do not as well. If you do not have the admin as a username on your site, then I would go ahead and check this, because this is going to immediately stop anybody that's trying to guess that password for admin and just block them from your site. So I'm going to go ahead and save those changes. All right, and this is taking us back to, it's taking us to settings. So we're going to go back to the dashboard here, and we're going to look at the next high risk thing here. Malware scanning is not enabled. This is basically, it goes through the files of your WordPress installation and checks to make sure that they are as they are supposed to be and have not been corrupted in any way. Hang on one second. So let's, you can set up your own account following this link and those tutorials. I have one. Let me go grab that and I'll be right back. All right, we're going to drop in my API key, save changes. There we go. All right. Let's go back again to our dashboard and see what other things it needs to recommend. We're not enforcing strong passwords for any of our users. Yes, I would like to do that. Now, granted, on my own personal website, I am the only user. But for which roles do you want to require a strong password? So I'm just going to require it for administrators, which basically is me, and we're going to be on our merry way. And right now, user nicknames can be the same as their login name. This means that their login name may be publicly available throughout the site. This is another one of those ways that if hackers don't know your login name. So even if you're not using admin, but your nickname is the same as your username, then the hackers can figure that out. And then again, they have half of the puzzle and they just have to figure out the password. So we want to force users to have a unique nickname, and that will make it a little bit harder for hackers to figure it out. I also want to do this if I have other users on your site, but maybe they're not actually writing posts. Maybe you have, like, your virtual assistant has an account, but she doesn't have any posts. He or she doesn't have any posts or pages assigned to her. You want to make it post count 0, or their post count is 0 then, and we're just going to basically make it so that that username kind of doesn't exist publicly. They can't find the author page for it. All right. So we've done all of the high priority things from our security list. So the medium priority are some other things here that you can do. Your WordPress dashboard, for instance, this one, your WordPress dashboard is available 24/7. Do you really update it 24 hours a day? Consider using away mode. So if we clicked on this, what this would do is basically say, okay, I don't really actually need to get onto my website 24 hours a day. I'm not usually using it, let's say, between 1 a.m. and, I don't know, 8 a.m. So any attempts to access the admin area of your site during these times would just block them. They can't get in there. And this is, of course, here is important to make sure you have your time zone set properly on your WordPress general settings page. So this here is showing you basically, according to your settings and your server, this is what time we think it is for you, 10:21 a.m. on Monday, November 24th. That is correct, so I know I have my settings set up properly. We can go take a look at that in a minute. But basically, so I'm just going to say, all right, yeah, we're good. We're going to lock it out between 1 a.m. and 8 a.m. because sometimes I am up after midnight working on my website. So we're just going to, that's 7 hours of time that people just shouldn't be able to access it. And that'll help, again, prevent some of the people from some of the hacker bots from getting into your site. Let's take a look at some of these other settings over here, some of the ones that I like to make sure I turn on. Okay. Your website is not looking for changed files. Let's turn on file change detections. And now, yes, you will get an update or notice every time you update plugins. If you do your updates for your WordPress core or your theme or your plugins, so you're going to get the update, but that's okay because then it's working. But if something changes that you don't expect to be changing, then you want to know about it. So I like to have it split the file checking into 7 chunks, and as you see here, it outlines what the 7 areas are. It says it may result in more notifications, but for bigger sites, it takes less of the server resources. So it's more helpful if you have a larger site. And then here you can exclude certain files that you want it to not pay attention to. I'm going to go ahead and leave those alone. Email me file change notifications, and then display a warning in the admin. I am good with all of those. Okay. Back to our dashboard. And real quick, while that's loading, I'm going to go over to my general settings page. So this is where it's important to make sure you pick a correct time zone and the date format that you want to use. But the time zone is the most important here because if you don't have the time zone set correctly, it's going to go based on server time and not necessarily where you are. And if the server is not in the same time zone as you, that could be all over the place. So especially if you're going to do the away mode and lock out your site access to your WP admin area during certain times of the day, you want to make sure that you have your time zone set correctly. And that's on settings and then the general page here. Okay, back here. WordPress is telling every bot that you use with a special generator tag what version you have. So we're going to go ahead and fix that, and that's definitely something. It's not like that information in and of itself is super handy, but bots can say, okay, they're using an outdated version of WordPress, and we know it's this version, so we can target these known security holes in that version to try to get down. I'm also going to go ahead and turn off the Windows Live Writer because I don't use that. I'm going to turn off the RSD because I don't use that. And I'm going to go ahead and let's do the reduce comment spam. I do have a Kismet and that helps a lot, but I'm just going to go ahead and turn that on too. Why not? It's there. All right. Save changes. Back to our dashboard. Let's take a look at some of those other medium issues here. All right. Users can execute PHP from the uploads folder. So let's go take a look at that. And basically, this shouldn't affect your ability to install plugins or anything like that. This is actually disables PHP execution in the uploads folder. So when you're installing plugins, it shouldn't affect that. But we want to make sure that people can't upload something that has malicious code in it. So we're going to go ahead and turn that off. And so, I mean, I'm not going to go through all of these because that would make for a really long video. And like I said, not everything is relevant to every person. For example, a user with ID 1 still exists. Yes, I could fix it. I'm not terribly concerned about that because I'm not using admin and I know I have a strong password. And so I'm not going to worry about that one right now. There's some other things here that I can do that I'm just going to go ahead and leave alone for now. And again, here, low priority things. So like here, I am enforcing strong passwords, but not for all users. Well, I don't have any other users on my site, so I'm not too concerned about that. You can ban users that are known to be a particular problem. Again, I don't have that particular concern, so it's not something I'm worried about turning on right now. So some of these other things, just take a look at. If you're having problems of a specific type, you may want to turn on some of these things. If you're, but do the high priority ones. Maybe pick a few of the medium priority ones that look particularly relevant to your site, and then just kind of see how it goes. So we've turned on all this stuff. That means that people aren't, it's going to be harder for people to get to my site. Everything's good. I'm feeling pretty happy about it. And yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and make another backup of my site with my backup buddy because I love my backup buddy. And then I'm feeling fairly confident about the security of my website. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment either on the blog post or on this YouTube page, depending on where you're looking at it, and I will do my best to be able to answer your questions. Thanks for watching, and have a wonderful day.